everybody. Thought I would just do a quick intro here. As many of us YouTubers know, it's very difficult to do YouTube channels, and many have taken their YouTube channels down. And it's sad. It's sad because they do such great videos, and they just can't deal with everything, which is understandable. Understandable. We've had to do it for 8 years, and it is very difficult sometimes, and sometimes you just have to take a break. But many of you know a good friend of ours. He had a YouTube channel, Joe4747, an ex-elder, and he has given us permission to put up one of our favorite videos that he had done. And I just wish I would have grabbed all of his videos, back when they were available. And so, thank you, Joe. And he wanted to send his love to everybody. And I know many of you have asked, about him. He is doing fine. I just got off the phone with him. And so here's his video.
One of my favorite movies of all time is a movie called Shawshank Redemption. Now, if you're an ex-witness and a movie buff like me, you may have seen the movie. But now, if you're an active witness, you probably didn't see the movie because we know witnesses are not supposed to watch rated R movies. But in this movie, there are 3 interesting characters. Andy Dufresne. Now, Andy is a man that gets sent to prison for a homicide he doesn't even commit. And then you have Red. Now, Red did commit a horrible crime and has spent decades in the prison system for his offense. And then lastly, you have an older man by the name of Brooks Hatlin. Now, Brooks has spent the majority of his life in prison. Now, in the movie, there's this scene where Brooks finds out they're going to release him. He's done his time. He needs to go. And he doesn't want to leave, so he grabs another inmate by the neck, and he's holding a shank toward this man's neck, thinking that if he causes some problems, they'll let him stay. Well, of course, they take the weapon away from him, and they make him leave. He's released. Well, sadly, Brooks doesn't do well on the outside. In fact, in the movie, within days, he commits suicide. Sadly, he hangs himself. Now, there's another scene in the movie. Andy Dufresne, Red, and some other inmates are out in the yard, the prison yard. And Andy doesn't understand why a man would take his life after he finally gains freedom. And Red tells him, he explains to him, Andy, you don't understand. Brooks was institutionalized. You see, in the prison system, the prison told Brooks when to lock down. They told him when it was time for chow. They told him when it was okay to take a shower. They also told him when it was okay to go to his workstation. You see, they controlled every aspect of Brooks' life. So no wonder he was afraid of the outside. Keep in mind, this man was in this system most of his life. A system that told him what to do and when to do it. Now there's another scene in the movie, and this is the night before Andy escapes. And he's talking to Red, and he asks Red. He says, Red, do you think you'll ever get out? Now Red is thinking like Brooks, and he tells Andy, Andy, I can't make it on the outside. I'm institutionalized. Well, there's a good ending to this movie. Andy Dufresne escapes, and months later, Red is up for parole, and he is released. And Red actually finds out that there is life on the outside. Now, the reason I brought up this movie, when you look at the Watchtower, now, it's no secret to ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that the hierarchy of the Watchtower. The Watchtower itself as an organization, well, they're experts when it comes to mind control. They're experts when it comes to indoctrination, especially when they get young children and they're raised in this structure, a structure where the organization almost controls every aspect of your life. And it's really sad because there are people that struggle. Maybe they've been in the Watchtower for years and they get disfellowshipped. How many times have we heard of individuals that have actually taken their lives because they didn't think they could make it on the outside? You know, even people that leave for conscience reasons. Maybe they're sick and tired of the hypocrisy, the pedophile paradise that exists in this terrible organization, and they leave. And then a couple months later, they're thinking, oh my goodness, what if I did the wrong thing? What if the Watchtower's right? You see, in a way, that's being institutionalized. You know, I looked up the definition of institutionalized, and it makes this comment. Part of the definition says, if someone becomes institutionalized, they gradually become less able to think and act independently because of having lived for a long time under the rules of an institution. And you think about it, the prison, yes, that institution had bars, and they controlled every aspect of the inmate's life. Well, the Watchtower doesn't have bars, but they have rules, policies that keep people in check. And sometimes people don't think they could do it on the outside, even though they would love to get away from the Watchtower. Now, I'm going to give you a quick example of someone that I felt was institutionalized. Myself. After I was disfellowshipped, I was trying to be reinstated, and I tried for 3 years. And the process of trying to be reinstated, it's not even about the sin. It's about jumping through the hoops. And I was jumping through all the hoops. And I had applied like 3 times, and they kept saying no. Well, one day, I'm in the back of the hall, in the back school, and I'm, being a good disfellowship person, trying to stay out of everybody's way. And there's a new guy. He's about 70 years of age, and he's from another congregation, and he starts talking to me, and he's sitting right next to me. And I said, I'm sorry, sir, I can't talk to you, I'm disfellowshipped. And he said, oh, no, that's okay. And he starts to tell me that he's disfellowshipped as well. And so I asked him where he's from and how long has he been trying to be reinstated. Now this man, he felt the need to confess. First of all, he tells me that he was disfellowshipped for gambling. But this man had been out of the Watchtower for over 20 years. And I asked him, I was just curious, I said, how long have you been trying to get back? And he said, for the last 14 years. And so I asked him another question. I said, how many times have you applied for reinstatement? And I believe it was like around 12 times. And he's still going to the hall. That's being institutionalized. Now, the sad part of the story, he met with the elders a couple months later. And I was at the hall, and I noticed his disposition was a little different. And I started to talk to him. He said, please don't talk to me. And I said, okay, that's fine. And he whispered to me, he said, the elders told me I can't be reinstated because they saw me talking to you. How sad, Another hoop for this poor guy. And of course, I know he was institutionalized. He was like Brooks Hatlin. Doesn't think he can make it on the outside. And of course, I was institutionalized because I was there at the hall trying to be reinstated. But you know, like Red, you can make it on the outside. And so a few suggestions that have helped me. You know, I do a lot of volunteering. For example, the last thing I did the Relay for Life, and that was for cancer awareness. One of the things I really enjoyed, we as a group, the hospital, we went and we fed the homeless. And we also did it on Thanksgiving, which I thought, oh, I don't know if I can do that, but I did it. And you know what was refreshing to be able to serve people, and serve people that are truly in need. You know, the Watchtower, with their indoctrination, wants you to think that the only way you can serve people is by starting Bible studies. That's not true. There are so many ways to serve people. So in conclusion, the organization, the Watchtower, is not just a publishing company. It's actually an institution. And sad to say, there are people that can become institutionalized. I hope you enjoyed the video and you have a good day.